everyone. In this video, I'm going to be doing my 2024 U.S. Senate election race prediction. Last time I did this, I had the Republicans narrowly winning in a close, tight one. Now this is going to be vastly different, as this is updated from my last prediction. So let's start off with the western side or western part of the United States. So let's start off with up on Montana. I think Tester is the Democratic candidate going up for re-election. He won last time, but now I think he is going to be a little bit less favorable heading into 2024. I think he was way more he had a better chance at winning back when he did, but rather when we're looking at 2024 specifically, I think I would say Tester in Montana, his chances are a little bit lower. Donald Trump won this state with a pretty much safe margin both times in 2016 and 2020. I expect him to do so in 2024. So considering that, I think Montana's race is likely to flip, or it has a pretty good shot at flipping for the GOP, because I think those voters would be tired of having a Democratic senator for too long in someone like Jon Tester. So I think that is probably going to flip for the Republicans' favor. I think it depends who they nominate, whether it's Mike Lindell. I think Tester has a better shot at going up against someone like Lindell. So it really depends ultimately who the Republicans nominate to go up against Tester, but I think it should flip. Now, in my last prediction, I had it Tester winning. This time around, it's updated, vastly different from my last prediction. So I think the Republicans will win this state with a tilt margin. I think it's going to be very close. I think Tester can very well win re-election, but I think 2024 is just going to be an unfavorable year, so I think Tester is going to get a little bit unlucky, and I think Republicans should flip Montana's Senate race heading into 2024. And now, moving down south with the state of Nevada. As we all know, Catherine Cortez Masto did win her re-election bid in the 2020 Senate midterms, when Republicans did blow their chances at winning. And the Republicans in the 2022 Senate midterms, they ruined their chances. And the question is, will that carry on in 2024? Will the Republicans shoot themselves in the foot again, just how they did in 2022 when it comes to the Senate? I don't think 2024 will be the same as 2022 when talking about the Senate. I think Republicans shooting themselves in the foot in the 2022 Senate midterms, hurting their chances at a lot of these races, nominating horrible candidates. And the 2022 Senate midterms goes to show you that candidate quality matters. So if Republicans can be good at candidate quality picking in 2024, I think they won't blow their chances just like how they did in 2022. So if Republicans can learn from what they did in 2022 and nominate better candidates in 2024, I think they can possibly flip the Senate. Now, speaking with Nevada, Catherine Cortez Masto she didn't win with a big margin. Her margin was very small. She barely won. She only won by less than a percentage point. She won by 0.8 to be exact. So she didn't win with this crazy amount of margin. So it definitely could flip in 2024. I think Nevada can definitely go either way. But as of right now, things can change. Things can change when we get closer to the 2024 Senate elections. But as of right now, I'm gonna characterize Nevada tilt blue for the Senate in 2024. I think that the Democrats barely won it in 2022, so they can ultimately lose it in 2024. I think Republicans definitely have a shot at flipping the Senate in Nevada, but keep in mind, Nevada is a tricky one, because Nevada is a state that loves Republican governors and Democratic senators. Nevada loves to have Republican governors, and they love to have Democratic senators. When it comes to Nevada, they are likely going to elect a Republican governor, and when it comes to Nevada, they are likely going to elect a Democratic senator. Nevada loves Democratic senators. On the other hand, they love Republican governors. So we're talking about the Senate in this video. So with that being said, Nevada loves Democratic senators. They love to elect them. So I think they will, with a tilt margin in 2024. Ultimately, it's going to be close, and I think it definitely could flip in the Republicans' column. But as if right now, for now, things can change. But as if for now, I'm going to characterize Nevada tilt for the Democrats in terms of Senate-wise. Now, presidential election-wise and governor's race would be completely different. But when we're talking about the U.S. Senate, Nevada does tend to love Democratic senators. So Nevada's race, I'm going to characterize that seat tilt blue for the Democrats in 2024. Now, taking a look at the Sun Belt, Arizona, the independent Kyrsten Sinema has filed paperwork, but she has not officially announced to run. Now, if she does run, I think it's going to make it worse for Democrats. Not run in 2024 for Arizona U.S. Senate, I think it will be better for Democrats. So hear me out. If Kyrsten Sinema does not run in 2024, I think it will help Democrats. If Kyrsten Sinema does run in 2024, I think it will negatively impact Democrats in Arizona's race for Senate. As of right now, she has filed paperwork. Kyrsten Sinema has filed paperwork, but she has not officially announced. When she does announce, that will be a different story. But as of right now, she has only filed paperwork, does not mean she officially announced. So with that being said, I think Arizona's Senate race will be tilt blue, as it is a trendy, shifty blue state. 2024 will be very, it's going to favor Democrats. Arizona's going to favor Democrats in 2024, as it is a trendy, shifty blue, democratic, futuristic state. Whoever they nominate for U.S. Senate in 2024, it ultimately comes down to candidate quality. Because if the Republicans pick a horrible candidate like Donald Trump did and Blake Masters in the 2022 Senate midterms, we can use the 2022 Senate elections as an example heading into 2024, even though, it may not be the same outcome. We can still use that as an example because that's an example. The 2022 Senate midterms is an example of candidate quality does in fact matter. And if Republicans nominate another Blake Masters 2.0, they're going ultimately to lose in Arizona's 2024 Senate election race. So it ultimately comes down, it really depends on who the Republicans will nominate. And if Donald Trump gets involved, it's going to help Democrats. If Donald Trump does not get involved, it's going to help Republicans. As long as Donald Trump keeps getting involved in the Arizona Senate race, it's going to help Democrats. So I'm going to characterize Arizona tilt for the Democrats heading into 2024 Arizona's U.S. Senate elections. And like I said, if Kyrsten Sinema does end up running, that's a totally different story. But in this video alone, I'm taking consideration that she does not run because as of right now, she hasn't. So I'm going to take that into consideration. But like I said, if Kyrsten Sinema does run officially, then things will change. That's a different story. But as of right now, Arizona is going to be tilt blue. But I think a lot of Arizona voters are going to be tired because they elected Mark Kelly, the Democrat, for 3 terms in a row. So they might, that might throw off some voters and help the Republicans because they had, Mark Kelly win 3 times in a row. So they might get tired of having a Democratic senator for so long. So they might elect a Republican. But that is not 100% going to be true. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with Arizona Senate race heading into 2024. So now moving on to Texas. Ted Cruz is up for re-election. He ultimately defeated Beto O'Rourke in 2018, while Beto O'Rourke did keep this race actually competitive because Ted Cruz only won with a tilt margin. He only won narrowly. He barely won with about 2 percentage points. So now this candidate is not going to be Beto O'Rourke, as he got destroyed by Greg Abbott on the governor's race. So Ted Cruz, I think, will ultimately slightly do better than he did in 2018, although I think Texas is slightly a state that is shifting towards the Democrats. Texas in the future will flip blue at some point, but will 2024 be the year that Texas flips blue in any race, whether it comes to the Senate, governors, or presidential election? I don't think 2024 will be the year that Democrats flip Texas. I just don't see it. So I think Texas will lean for Ted Cruz. I think he's going to ultimately win that seat by around 3 percentage points, 3 to 4 percentage points. I think he's going to win slightly more than he did last time. He's not going up against Beto O'Rourke, which Beto O'Rourke kept it competitive. So as long as he does not face Beto O'Rourke, I think Ted Cruz should be, I think it's going to lean towards his favor. Now, when talking about the future, that's a different story for Texas, but talking about 2024 specifically, I don't think it's going to be the Democrats' year they flip it. I think it'll probably be 2032, somewhere around there, early 2030s. Texas is shifting towards the left, but I don't think it's going to be the year it does in 2024. So I think it's going to be lean red for Ted Cruz. Now, it's a possible flip, but it's also going to be pretty difficult. It's going to be a challenging flip for sure. And now, as for Florida, I think we're going to skip that one. I think we all know what's happening with Florida. It's pretty much a safe Republican state, so we're going to skip that, not spend too much time on Florida. Now, we're going to focus on West Virginia and going up north. West Virginia. Joe Manchin, terms are over, so it's not going to be Joe Manchin. Now, if it was, that would be a different story, but I think West Virginia is ultimately going to flip in the Republicans' favor. I think West Virginia is going to lean for whomever the Republican candidate is. It doesn't really matter because West Virginia is still one of the most, arguably the safest and the most solid Republican state. I think Wyoming is pretty much comes close to that, but West Virginia is still this very well solid Republican state, and as it continues to be a solid Republican state, they're going to elect a Republican senator in 2024. So I think that's likely to flip in Republicans' favor. So now moving up north to Ohio, Sherrod Brown is going up against re-election. Now, the year he won, he was more favorable. Now he is running for election in 2024 where he is not as favorable as he used to be. Considering his popularity, you can argue Sherrod Brown could possibly win, but I think that also has a chance at flipping for the Republicans' favor. So I do think that Ohio will lean for the GOP, as Donald Trump did comfortably win the state with a likely margin in 2020. I expect him to do so, as we all do, most of us, in 2024. Ohio is a trendy, shifty Republican state. I think it's a lost cause for Democrats. So, typically speaking, Sherrod Brown is a Democratic, I would say, incumbent, in a very red Ohio state. I think that's not going to be good for him. I think his chances are definitely lower than what they used to be. I think the year that he won, he was definitely more favorable. Now, considering 2024, I think it's less favorable for Sherrod Brown. So I ultimately think that seat's gonna flip for the GOP. Now moving on to the Rust Belt, we just have 3 more states to cover before we end off this video. I think Wisconsin is going to tilt for the Democrats. I think Wisconsin will elect a Democratic senator in 2024, Tammy Baldwin. Tammy Baldwin won last time. She did a very good job, and I think she is a strong Democratic candidate choice. I think Democrats did very well, choosing or nominating Tammy Baldwin. She's likely to be the nominee. If not, she is already the nominee. And as long as she is the nominee for the Democrats in Wisconsin, I think she's going to ultimately flip that. Ron Johnson is at his final term, so he's not going to run in 2024, as he just barely won in 2020. He's not 2022. Johnson's seat is up. He's not going to run. He is finishing his final term. So with that being said, I think Tammy Baldwin is ultimately going to win and flip it from red to blue. So I think Wisconsin will be blue when it comes to the Senate in 2024. Also, Ron Johnson did slightly do worse in some counties, not statewide, but in some counties Ron Johnson did underperform Donald Trump. So with that being said, I think Tammy Baldwin is probably going to flip that seat into the Democrats' favor. Now, Michigan, as far as Michigan, that's going to be likely blue. I think that's going to be very comfortable for the Democrats. I don't think it's going to be competitive whatsoever. Michigan's Republican Party is an utter disaster. They don't fund whatsoever. Michigan GOP's party, the Republican Party, when it comes to Michigan specifically, the Michigan GOP's party is an utter disaster. They don't know how to nominate good candidates. They actually don't have good candidates to nominate, and their fundraising is just horrible. And as long as that continues, Michigan is going to be very comfortable for the Democrats, and I don't think that's going to be comfortable whatsoever. I think it's going to be a very difficult flip for the GOP. So with that being said, I think Michigan is going to remain blue in Democratic control when it comes to the Senate. So now on to the last state, Pennsylvania. I think that's going to ultimately lean for the Democrats. Obviously, they just elected a Democratic senator in 2022. They nominated someone. The Republicans, on the other hand, nominated someone like Dr. Oz, which Donald Trump had a saying in that, because Donald Trump basically chose who he wanted to, the Republicans to run, and that happened to be Dr. Oz, and that did not go well. So as long as Donald Trump, gets involved in the Senate, I think it's going to ultimately cost Republicans. Now, is that going to help in 2024? Not 100%. Donald Trump may not, get involved as much as he was in 2022, but John Fetterman won with a good margin. That John Fetterman won, he overperformed. Okay, John Fetterman overperformed, and as long as he overperformed, it's probably going to remain in Democratic control. Now, John Fetterman is actually not running for re-election. Keep in mind, he announced that he's not going to run for a second term. He's not going to seek a second term. So it's not going to be John Fetterman. But I really think it does not matter if it's John Fetterman or not. I think it's going to lean. Pennsylvania Senate race in 2024 will lean for the Democrats. Now, there you guys go. This is my updated 2024 Senate prediction election for the Senate. 52 for the GOP, they're going to flip back the Senate. 48 for the Democrats. And I do think that it won't be Mitch McConnell. As if right now it is going to be Mitch McConnell. But, you know, regarding with his health, I think Republicans are going to have to find someone else other than Mitch McConnell because he's just not doing well. So, yeah, 2024 U.S. Senate election, 52 for the GOP, 52 seats for them. They'll flip it. They'll take back the U.S. Senate. And 48 for the Democrats. Let me know what your opinions, thoughts, and opinions on this map that I just filled out. Let me know what states you agree with, what states you disagree with, and do you agree with the map overall? This is my prediction as of right now. An updated one, an updated version. So let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section down below. And as we are approaching 400 subscribers, we are just, I believe, 10 subscribers away. So do consider subscribing to the channel for more predictions just like this one.